Hey YouTube, it's Penny. This video is going to be kind of a continuation of the Hawaii 5.0 video that I recently uploaded. Okay, so back on November 9th of 2013, I said something in a dream, and I wrote it down, and this is what I said. I just know deep down in my soul there's going to be another one. And the context was the Indonesian tsunami that occurred on December 26th back in 2004. So that earthquake was caused when the Indian plate was subducted by the Burma plate and triggered a series of devastating tsunamis along the coast of most land masses bordering the Indian Ocean, killing over 230,000 people in 14 countries and inundating coastal communities with waves up to 30 meters, which is 98 feet high. So with a magnitude of 9.1 to 9.3, it was the third largest earthquake ever recorded on a seismograph, and it had the longest duration of faulting ever observed, between 8.3 and 10 minutes, and it triggered other earthquakes as far away as Alaska. So, in the last video, I talked about a dream that I had on June 15th. I've titled it Blood Moon Honeymoon. You might remember it was about these three lines of bridal parties, and I was talking to these three brides, and they were saying that they were gonna, one of them was saying that she was gonna be watching the blood moon on her honeymoon. And there were exactly 15 people online, and so it made me think about the third blood moon that will occur in 2015. Okay, so on July 3rd, I had a dream where I was telling the women about the big waves that we had experienced on our honeymoon cruise. So David and I were originally supposed to take our honeymoon cruise to the Mediterranean so that we could spend some time in Israel, but our cruise was canceled at the last minute, like 2 weeks before we got married. Long story. So anyway, we ended up going to the Caribbean instead. What's interesting about that is Puerto Rico was one of the stops on our cruise, and we were married on April 2nd. So a few weeks after I received this dream, I was contacted by a subscriber regarding Efrain Rodriguez's prophecy message about an asteroid hitting off the coast of Puerto Rico. Well, at the time, he asked me if I'd heard about it, and I said yes, but I had him confused with that other gentleman, Augusto Perez. So, and he's the one who had, the Lord had told him to warn Miami, which of course is like really close to Puerto Rico. So the fact that this two of these blood moons are going to happen in April. David and I were married in April. There's this Puerto Rico connection, and we really did have big waves on our honeymoon cruise. We've never been on a cruise before. We've taken 3 more since then, but the waves were so high that one of the couples at our table actually she was pregnant and she couldn't take the Dramamine or whatever, and so she had to get off. They had to get off at the first port of call, and because she was just too sick. But it was our first cruise, so we didn't know, like, is this normal? So apparently it's not normal. So, okay, so here's big waves tied to honeymoon, which to me is tied to blood moon, and maybe potentially to Puerto Rico as well. The next night, July 3rd, I had a dream that I was driving in an open-air Jeep, and I picked up a little blonde girl with a large brimmed hat. As we took off in this Jeep, I said to her, "Hold on to your hat." Well, this was strange. That evening, David and I were over at our neighbor's house for, 4th of July barbecue. Before the fireworks started, I went into the house to get something, and as I was walking past the TV on my way back out, which was on because their older father was in the house and he was watching TV, Pat Sajak was reiterating a Wheel of Fortune puzzle that a contestant had just solved, and it was, "Hold on to your hat." I fell over. I was like, what? So I actually told my neighbors about it that night because it was just so like, did I just hear what I thought I heard? And it's possible that it was meant for them personally because they've been going through a trial, and hold on to your hat kind of would indicate it's going to be a bumpy ride. But the fact that I heard it just before the fireworks started made me wonder if maybe this was a message for the larger body or dream that I was supposed to share with all of you. The next night, I had a dream. Oh, excuse me, it wasn't. It was a vision. Where I saw a T-shirt that had writing on it, and the writing said, "It's a long shot, but we can hang in there. Nancy Kerrigan did." Okay, so I haven't thought about Nancy Kerrigan, and I don't even know when. So here's what I wrote. She is, after I researched this, she's probably best known for the quote-unquote whack heard around the world that she took on the knee in 1994 at the U.S. figure skating competition before going on to win the silver medal in the Olympics. So in researching this whole incident, I discovered that she shouted, "Why me?" when she was attacked. I also discovered that she was born on October 13th, which is weird. That's my birthday, and it's a date that keeps repeating in my dreams. I keep having all these birthday and wedding dreams, including, anniversary dreams. On July 10th, I dreamt that someone was getting married, and everyone was giving them 5 wedding cards. I saw one of the cards up close. It had a cartoon spoof of the main character from the old Hawaii Five-0 show. So this is after I'd already uploaded that Hawaii Five-0 video. In the dream, I understood that the groom looked just like Jack Lord. So he was the actor who played the main character in the original TV series. So it was fitting and funny that someone had found this card, and it looked something like this. On July 18th, I saw a dirt ball falling into a large pickle jar that was half filled with water, and it was making a big splash, big wave. My first thought was that this represents something falling from outer space into a body of water. And the idiom, "we're in a pickle," means we're in trouble. So I think this is related to Efrain Rodriguez's prophecy about the asteroid making a big wave off of Puerto Rico. So the whole thing with Nancy Kerrigan and the "why me" thing, it's interesting because one of the pictures I found of her that was taken at the same competition where she got whacked on the knee is a picture of her and Tanya Harding. And Tanya is the skater who was accused of being involved in this attack. It was her bodyguard that actually carried it out, I think. Anyway, this picture is very interesting. Take a look at it. So notice how, Tanya's wearing this colorful, kind of gaudy dress that, a lot of times when I'm shown the harlot in dreams and visions, it's all this like, it's a lot like that. And Nancy is wearing this beautiful white lace, classy dress for her performance. So I think that the Father was wanting you to see this picture to show me like the contrast, right, between the harlot and the true bride. Well, the true bride, if that's who Nancy represents, she was injured, and she was rightfully questioning, like, why me? Why did this happen? And if she represents the bride, and we have to go through what's going to feel like an attack from the enemy, a lot of people, I think, are going to ask, why me? And so I think that's why he was saying, we can hang in there. Nancy Kerrigan did. I mean, she went on to win the silver medal after all. Well, to wrap this up, I'm going to tell you a story about something that's happened in my own life recently that I believe is all related, and a word of encouragement. So there's a couple that moved back into our small community about a year ago, and she, the wife especially, has had an incredible impact on the people in our community, especially in the ex-Amish, fellowship that they had been a part of. I say had been because she passed away last Wednesday, a week ago today. And it's interesting because she passed away on our son's wedding anniversary, his 3rd anniversary. And the last significant person in our life who passed away was David's mother, and she passed away on her son's birthday. So here's birthdays, weddings again. Anyway, a couple of weeks before Lori, is her name, passed away of cancer, and we couldn't believe how long she hung on, and really brought the whole community together. Well, I had texted her husband, and I said, "Hey, brother, how you holding up?" And he texted me back, and he said, "Like a sandcastle, waiting for the big wave." And it really hit me. Well, I encouraged him, and I said, when the big wave does come, meaning when Lori finally goes home to be with the Father, and the waves, let those waves just wash over you, knowing that your castle is built upon the solid rock and it will stand firm. Well, her memorial service is coming up this next weekend, and I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm actually right now I'm over in the Seattle area with David, and we had this trip planned before Lori passed away. Well, the morning that she died, July 23rd, I went out to sit with Larry for a few minutes before they came and took her body, and I asked him, I said, "Larry, what's the hardest part for you right now?" And he said, it took him a while, to compose himself, but he finally said, "I now understand the lyric in the song that says, 'When sorrows like sea billows roll.'" So here's waves rolling again. And he said that it was actually one of Lori's ancestors who wrote that song, which I thought was pretty fascinating. And I'd sang that song at my grandfather's funeral several years ago. And I asked Larry a couple days later if it would be okay if I sang that song at the hymn sing. So our community gets together, kind of an Amish tradition, I think, for a hymn sing once a month, and the 2 little churches in our community come together. Well, they dedicated the whole thing to Lori. It was beautiful. And since I'm not going to be able to be at the memorial service this coming weekend, I asked him if I could sing that song, "It Is Well With My Soul." Sorry, I'm getting a little choked up just thinking about it. So that morning, Sunday morning, knowing that I was going to sing that song that night, I get those. I've mentioned to you guys in the past that I get these they're called Holy Land moments. They're emails that come in, but they come in really early in the morning before I wake up, and so it's usually one of the first things I see on my email on my phone every morning, and I usually read them before I get out of bed. So it's kind of like a little morning devotional. Well, the name of it on Sunday morning was "Ride the Big Wave Home." I couldn't believe it. It was so perfect, and I'm not going to read it to you. I actually did read it at the hymn sing on Sunday night, because it was so apropos, but it was talking about how the waves in life that come, especially the ones that are associated with tragedy, have the potential to pummel us, take us under. But if we're like surfers who love to ride the big wave, it'll take us where we never imagined, and we can ride it home. And since Lori had gone home to be with the Lord, it was perfect. And I was really nervous. I was very emotional. I was hard for me to talk, much less sing, when I'm emotional. But the Lord said, "It's not about you, Penny. You're gonna do this." So I was like, ah. So I went over to the piano and I hit the note, and I started to sing, "When peace like a river," and the whole congregation joined me. It was such a God thing. Here I was all nervous about being up there and all self-conscious about singing solo, and instead it was like I was leading worship. It was just beautiful. So there are times coming for all of us whether it's a real tsunami, like Efrain Rodriguez is prophesying, and I'm going to put some links in the description box for you to listen to some of his messages, or whether it's some other attack from the enemy or whatever, and we might ask, why me? Ride the big wave home. Don't let it take you under. Keep your eyes focused on him, and he'll see you through. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Blessed are you, our Lord God, King of